If you've got half an acre and you are still buying vegetables at the store every week, your land is not the problem. Your layout is. This setup pulls more than 2,000 pounds of food off half an acre in a year. That is enough produce to cover most of what a family of 6 eats, from a piece of ground smaller than most front and backyards put together. And it does it with 5 old growing methods that cost almost nothing, because each one runs on free materials you already have or can get for zero. The reason you never see these methods combined into one system is simple. Fertilizer companies, pesticide companies, and landscaping fabric companies cannot make a dime off them. So they were never taught, not in extension classes, not in gardening books after 1960, not anywhere the agricultural industry had influence. They were erased. The USDA says the average family of 4 spends over $1,000 a month on groceries right now. A family of 6 is looking at $1,200 to $1,500. That is not food independence. That is a subscription you cannot cancel to a supply chain you do not control. The layout we are about to walk through was the default for small landholders for centuries across Austria, Bavaria, rural England, and Appalachia. It worked. It fed families of 5, 6, 7, and 8 without making them dependent on a store. The old way was not fancy. It was disciplined. Most modern garden advice is built around purchase. Buy the amendment, buy the mulch, buy the pest control, buy the fabric, buy the fertilizer, buy the solution. But if your goal is a resilient food system on small land, every bought input creates another dependency. What the old systems understood was that the garden has to pay you back in more than one way. It has to build soil. It has to feed roots. It has to suppress weeds. It has to manage pests. It has to keep producing when the weather turns. And it has to keep producing when the grocery store gets expensive. That is why this layout works. Each method fills a gap the others leave behind. The buried wood beds create the engine. The worm towers feed that engine. The cardboard pathways keep weeds down and add carbon. The branch habitat brings in beneficial predators. The winter sprouting station closes the cold season gap. And the whole system is arranged so the most important work stays close to the house. That proximity rule matters. If the beds are too far away, they get neglected. If they are near the back door, they get tended. Proximity beats perfection every time. Now, method 1 is the engine. Method 1, buried wood beds. Method 1 is the single biggest money drain in your garden right now. Soil that quits on you after 2 or 3 seasons and forces you to buy bags of amendments every spring just to keep growing what you grew for free last year. The German word for this method is Hügelkultur. It means mound culture. The technique goes back centuries to farmers who built raised beds over buried logs to improve poor soils and drainage. Here's how it works. Dig a trench 18 to 24 inches deep. Fill the bottom with logs and large branches. Hardwood is best. Oak, maple, birch, whatever grows near you. On top of the logs, add smaller branches. On top of that, leaves, grass clippings, rough compost, whatever organic material you have. Then, mound your garden soil on top. The finished bed sits 12 to 18 inches above the surrounding ground. What happens underground is where this gets remarkable. Decomposing wood acts like a buried sponge. It holds moisture through drought and releases it slowly into the root zone. It also feeds the soil. Fungi and bacteria breaking down the wood release a slow stream of nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and trace minerals right where the roots feed. You build this bed once. It feeds your plants for 15 to 20 years without a single bag of fertilizer, without an irrigation system, and without annual amendment. Sepp Holzer proved this on hard land in Austria. When he returned to buried wood beds, the farm stopped depending on purchased inputs and started producing through drought, frost, and mountain weather. In your layout, these beds are Zone 1, the backbone. 6 beds, each 4 feet wide by 12 feet long, arranged in 2 rows of 3, within 30 feet of your back door. Total footprint, about 900 square feet, including the cardboard pathways between them. Expected yield, 1,100 to 1,500 pounds of produce per season from Zone 1 alone. And the proximity is not decoration. If you build the primary bed 60 feet from the back door, you will stop walking out to check it in July when it is 95 degrees and the mosquitoes are bad. The beds closest to the house get tended. The far beds get neglected. Proximity beats perfection every time. If this kind of forgotten system is useful, subscribe so you do not miss the next one. Method 2. Worm towers. Buried wood beds build structure for years, but they still need a steady supply of fresh nutrients at the surface, where your vegetable roots are actively feeding. That is what Method 2 delivers. The science behind it is not fringe. It comes from Charles Darwin. Darwin spent decades studying earthworms. His final book, published in 1881, showed that worms are one of the main engines that create fertile topsoil by moving soil through their bodies inch by inch, century after century. The agricultural industry read that and did nothing with it because you cannot patent a worm. But what Darwin discovered is exactly what makes Method 2 the cheapest and most effective fertilizer system you will ever own. A worm tower is a $2 piece of PVC pipe, 12 inches in diameter and 18 inches long, drilled with 1/4-inch holes along the bottom 2/3. You bury it vertically in the center of your raised bed, with about 4 inches sticking above the soil line. You drop a handful of red wiggler worms inside. Then you feed it with kitchen scraps, coffee grounds, eggshells, shredded paper, and melon rind. The worms process the material and deposit castings directly into the surrounding soil through the drilled holes. The liquid runoff, called worm tea, seeps outward around the bed, 1 tower per bed. No turning, no hauling, no compost pile to manage. 6 towers running simultaneously means 6 biological fertilizer factories fed by kitchen waste that would otherwise go to the trash, producing nutrients that would cost you $60 to $80 a season in bagged amendments. Darwin's colleagues thought his worm research was too small to matter. 40 years later, his worm book was a bestseller. But by then, synthetic fertilizer had already taken over, and the chemical companies that built munitions during the wars had pivoted to selling fertilizer. The worm was not going to compete with a bag. Your beds are built and feeding themselves, but weeds will still wreck your harvest if you let them. Method 3. Cardboard pathways. Weeding is not just a nuisance. It is the #1 reason gardeners over 60 give up entirely. Not because they lose interest, but because their knees give out, their backs lock up, and the garden that was supposed to give them independence starts taking more from their body than it gives back. Method 3 fixes that, and it comes from the people who have been solving this longer than anyone else in America. The Amish of Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. 44,000 Amish live in Lancaster County, and they have been farming the same land for over 300 years without tractors or herbicides. One of their methods is simple. Corrugated cardboard laid flat on the ground, wetted thoroughly, and covered with 4 to 6 inches of mulch, straw, wood chips, or leaves. The cardboard blocks light, suppresses new weed germination, and decomposes into carbon-rich humus. For this layout, it does double duty. It kills weeds and feeds the buried wood beds underneath. Cardboard goes everywhere you are not actively planting. Between the beds, along the paths, and around the perimeter. You lay it in fall, mulch over it, and by spring you have weed-free paths and bed edges that stay clean all season. In the beds themselves, you can lay cardboard over existing grass or weeds, add compost on top, and plant into it in 6 weeks. That solves most of the weeding labor. Your knees stay intact, your back stays functional, and the garden stays yours. And the part that should frustrate you is simple. Cardboard is free. The lawn and garden industry replaced this method with bagged mulch, landscaping fabric, and pre-emergent herbicides. Products that cost $30 to $200 per application and need to be reapplied every year. Cardboard works better. It is free, and it feeds your soil as it breaks down instead of leaving plastic fibers in it. But there is still the pest problem. Method 4. Branch habitat for beneficial predators. This next method made us genuinely angry when we first learned about it, because it is so simple, so free, and so effective that the fact it was never taught tells you exactly whose interests those programs serve. Method 4 handles pest control without chemicals. The tool is probably already in your backyard. Take freshly cut sticks and small branches, 12 to 18 inches long, and lay them loosely between your rows and around the perimeter of the beds. What you have done is create habitat. Ground beetles, spiders, predatory wasps, centipedes, the insects that eat your crops, need shelter during the day. They hunt at night. Without shelter, they move on. A bare garden bed is a desert for beneficial predators. A bed with sticks scattered around it is a hunting ground. The Amish understood this intuitively. A garden is not a factory floor. It wants to be an ecosystem. Place the sticks between your buried wood beds, along the cardboard pathways, and especially at the bed perimeters, where pest pressure is highest. Replace them once a season as they break down, and when they do break down, they add organic matter to the soil, same as the cardboard. A pile of sticks from your own property controls the majority of common garden pests by letting nature's own defense system do the work. 4 methods down, and every one of them costs either nothing or close to it. Method 5. Winter sprouting. Do not skip this. When the ground freezes and the outdoor garden goes dormant, you are right back where you started. Dependent on the grocery store, dependent on the supply chain, dependent on whatever price they decide to charge you that week. From November through March, all the work you put into your garden means nothing unless you know Method 5. And the reason you probably do not know it is the reason that should scare you the most. Your grandparents knew this. Their parents knew it. An entire generation of American and British families kept themselves fed through rationing and world wars using this exact technique. But when supermarkets made winter produce cheap and convenient in the 1960s, families stopped teaching it. The skill died in one generation. Sprouting is the simplest form of food production that exists. You take a dry seed, mung bean, alfalfa, broccoli, lentil, radish, sunflower. You soak it in water for 8 to 12 hours. Then you rinse it twice a day for 3 to 5 days. No soil, no sunlight, no special equipment. Just a mason jar with a mesh lid on your kitchen counter. What comes out of that jar is nutritionally dense. Johns Hopkins researchers showed that broccoli sprouts contain far higher levels of glucoraphanin, the precursor to sulforaphane, than mature broccoli heads. NASA has also studied sprouting for long-duration space missions because it solves the same winter problem you have. How do you produce fresh food in a closed environment with minimal space, water, and energy? Microgreens and sprouts give you a lot of nutrition for almost no space, water, or time. This was not some niche hobby. During World War II, the British government pushed home growing hard, and indoor sprouting handled the winter vitamin gap. For the layout, your winter sprouting station is Zone 5, the indoor zone. It needs a corner of your kitchen, basement, or garage, anywhere above freezing. A simple rack with 6 mason jars on rotation produces enough fresh sprouts and microgreens for a family of 6 to have greens at every meal through the winter months. Total cost for a season's worth of sprouting seeds, $20 to $30. And it connects to the outdoor system through seed saving. You grow your sprouting seeds in the outdoor beds during summer, harvest and dry them in fall, and sprout them through winter. The loop closes, the full layout. Now let us walk through the complete layout, zone by zone, closest to the house and working outward. Every distance and dimension here is based on what actually works after 3 seasons of testing, not what looks good on a diagram. Zone 1, 6 buried wood beds close to the back door. These are your daily harvest beds: lettuce, tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, beans, herbs, and greens. Each bed has 1 worm tower, sticks between the rows, and cardboard paths around it. Zone 2, 4 more buried wood beds set a little farther out for potatoes, carrots, beets, turnips, onions, cabbage, broccoli, and kale. These are your storage crops. Zone 3, the back third of the half acre, becomes a perennial food forest with fruit trees, berry bushes, grapevines, and perennial herbs. Zone 4, a small compost and utility area for tool storage, seed drying, and cardboard staging. Zone 5, the indoor sprouting station, with 6 jars on rotation on a kitchen shelf or counter. Here's the yield math. Zone 1 produces 1,100 to 1,500 pounds. Zone 2 produces 800 to 1,200 pounds. Zone 3, at maturity, produces 300 to 500 pounds of fruit. Zone 5 produces 50 to 100 pounds of sprouts over winter. The conservative total is 2,250 pounds of food per year. A family of 6 needs roughly 3,500 to 4,000 pounds of food annually. This layout covers most of your fruits, vegetables, and greens year-round. You are still buying grains, dairy, and meat unless you are also raising chickens and grinding wheat. These numbers are not theoretical. We tested this layout. What happened in the first year? 3 seasons ago, our setup looked nothing like this. A garden in one corner, no winter production at all, and a grocery bill north of $700 a month. After rebuilding the layout around these 5 methods, the bill dropped to under $150 a month. The majority of what we eat now comes from inside the fence line. We made one mistake in the first year that cost a growing season on 2 of the beds. We put the buried wood beds too far from the back door, and the far beds got neglected. There is a smell a buried wood bed gets in its second year. Earthy, fungal, almost sweet. That is the wood breaking down. That is the system working. Once you smell it, you stop buying bags of anything. 3 mistakes that will sabotage this layout. Mistake 1, building all 5 zones in one season. Do not do it. Start with Zone 1, near the house. Get it producing. Add Zone 2 in year 2. Plant the food forest in year 2 or 3. The sprouting station can start on day 1. Mistake 2, skipping the winter sprouting station. It is the least glamorous method of the 5, but it closes the loop on the year-round claim. Skip it and you have an 8-month garden and a 4-month grocery dependency. Mistake 3, treating the layout like a diagram instead of a daily habit. The system only works if you keep walking it, feeding it, and harvesting it. The year in practice. Picture the year. March. The snow is barely gone, and your buried wood beds are already warm to the touch. You plant cool weather crops before your neighbor even thinks about gardening. June. The beds are producing fast. The worm towers are quietly turning kitchen scraps into fertilizer. The cardboard paths are weed-free. September. The root crops come out of Zone 2, and the fruit trees in Zone 3 are heavy. December. Snow on the ground. The outdoor garden is sleeping, but on the kitchen counter, 6 jars of sprouts are 3 days from harvest. That is not a fantasy. That is a Tuesday on half an acre using 5 methods that your great-grandparents knew and the modern food industry spent 70 years trying to make you forget. Most people who try this layout make one critical planting mistake in their first season that wipes out an entire zone. It has nothing to do with soil, sunlight, or water. It has to do with timing. This layout only works when the timing is right. The beds stay close, and each method keeps doing the job the others cannot. Subscribe for more forgotten methods like this, and keep this layout close.